Namaste, everybody. This is Vinyasa. So grab yourself your mat and let's get going. Come to all fours. If you want to pad your knee with a blanket, feel free to do that. And just start to get into your body a little bit, get into your spine. I'm going to press back into a child's pose. I'm choosing to tuck my toes under here to open up the arches of the feet, the toes, and the back of the leg a little bit. Adding some breath. And rising up to all fours. Exhale into your first downward facing dog. And as always, let's be really sweet and generous with just our casual nature of this as we begin, not trying to get the heels right down to the floor. The body's pretty cold. We haven't warmed up. And then draw your heels away from you. They don't have to touch the floor. Inhale and exhale a third of the way down. Good. So instead of collapsing at the back, draw the organs towards the spine, hover, wake up the inner thighs a little bit. Inhale here. Exhale 2/3 of the way down. Breathing. And exhale all the way down. Let the knees land at the same millisecond, working the core a little bit differently. Then inhale, lift the heart, lift the hips. Exhale, child's pose. Elongate through the side body, deep breath in. Exhale out. Good. Inhale all fours. Tuck the toes under. Exhale to downward dog. So normally I do more of a check-in. I do a centering, all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that on your own, a lot of these videos are just kind of going to get right into it. But I don't want you to skip that. Inhale. Exhale half of the way down. Good. Breathe here. Optional lift of the right foot. Optional press of the right sole of foot to the ceiling. Breathing here. Lower that foot down. And then other side, little lift or press. Remember, the other knee can be right on the floor. You could be on all fours or even in a child's pose for this time. Choose the level you need. And exhale, lower that down. Inhale in the hover. Exhale directly to downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Look to the top of your mat. Find your feet there. It might be nice to have some blocks under the hands as you warm up, or maybe for the whole time, maybe bending the knees. Inhale, rise halfway up, hands to the blocks, floor, or shins. Exhale, any amount of a fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive or move through chair or roll all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And then go ahead and come up to the top of your mat. Take your feet underneath you wherever that feels really stable for you. Soften out the shoulders, relax the jaw. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Again, bending the knees any amount that feels right. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Lead with your non-dominant leg. So the leg that normally doesn't step first. Then create your full plank pose. Breathe in your plank pose, and you can either go to child's pose, downward dog, or through your version of vinyasa. For me, that's gonna look like a heels rocking forward. I'm gonna move through chaturanga all the way to the floor. Tops of the feet down, shoulders roll back. Cobra, you might be doing upward dog if that's part of your practice. Lowering down a bit, and then transitioning maybe to a child's pose in between or directly to your downward facing dog. There's tons of ways to take a vinyasa. You might even take it differently every time. Pedal it out. Now root your hands down, really feel grounded, feel that stability. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Look to the top of your mat. Let's let that non-dominant leg lead us again to the front of the mat. Stepping forward. This time we'll transition into a chair pose. So find it in the legs and the pelvis first. And if you're collapsing or over tucking, maybe put one hand on the belly and one hand on that low back sacrum area and see if you can feel a little more stable and elongated. And then choose your arm position from there. Maybe starting forward. If you want a little bit more, let the arms rise up if that feels okay on the neck and shoulders. Press into the floor. Inhale, come all the way to stand. Exhale, samastitihi, which means steady and even. Bring the hands to the heart. Find your breath and your balance here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Soften the knees again. Press the hands away from you, behind you. Roll your shoulder blades onto the back. We're back in chair, but we've changed the arms. Triceps are firing here. If it feels better to turn your palms in, turn your palms in. And then we'll just do some little pressing here to open the chest and to work the arms, especially those triceps, while we're already in that leg work. If you're mostly anchored in the front of the feet, maybe draw some weight back into the heels. 3 more presses. 2, 1. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, stay where you are. I'm going to show you, we're going to open the heart. You stay at the top of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Hands touch. Exhale, chair, hands to the heart. Inhale, up, palms forward. Exhale, chair, open the chest. One more time, reach up, palms touch. Exhale, chair. Inhale, up. So you can keep your leg straight on this elbow drawback or bend. Inhale, reach, and exhale, hands to the heart. Finding your breath. If you haven't set an intention for your practice today, pause here, set that intention, maybe a word or a phrase, or someone you want to dedicate your efforts to. Inhale, reach up. Exhale for the fold. Inhale, rise halfway up. Exhale if you like to step or hop back. If hopping is part of your practice, of course, you can hop back into chaturanga. Let's not get carried away though, unless that's something you're really used to. Opening, broadening the chest, derived from the core, downward facing dog. Scoot your left foot in a little bit over to the right. Let your right leg lift. So even if you can go way up here, just roll the front of your right hip down, which will make more sensation come to the IT band on that left side. From here, round in, knee to nose or forehead to nose. Lift your right ankle higher towards its sitting bone to get more core involvement. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round, open the back body. Last one like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Cross and lower your toes to the other side of your foot. Root the palms, drag your left waistline long, and press the heart gently back. Again, in that left IT band. So this particular vinyasa is going to focus a good amount on strength. Here's a little stretch for you though. It's going to be both, but a lot of strength. Right leg reaches up. Use the transition from before. Lift knee, lift ankle, and then seal down into your right side low lunge. Here's where 2 blocks might be nice. Breathe here. Draw your left femur head into the pelvis, right hip back. When you feel awake and alive in the legs, let the trunk rise up. Reach up if that feels okay on the shoulders. Breathing here. And then from here, choose your arm position. Do you stay up? Do you go back into that similar movement from before? Do you want to reach behind you and grab a strap or interlace your fingers? What works? You find that. Roll the shoulder blades back, lift the chest. So everyone has a unique posture that's going to feel right for them. And don't feel like it has to be the same every day. Inhale for the reach. Exhale, we're going to straighten the front leg and lower our hands down to the floor or the blocks. Back heel can be lifted, or you can walk it over to the left more and seal the heel down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold, pyramid pose, Paschimottanasana. Waking up the legs, micro bend the knees. If it feels okay, reach forward and all the way up. A lot of strength in that transition. Bring the hands to the heart. Now lean forward a little bit with that chest. Bend the front knee, lift the back heel, and you might have to scoot that back foot a little closer in, and then step into your chair pose. Breathing here, arm choice, again, up to you, what works. Optional lift of the heels this time. For a little more balance, a little more calf work. I usually feel my inner thighs engage a little more on this one. And then lower the heels if they were lifted, hands to the heart. Find your word, find your intention. Soften the area of the body, areas of the body that might be working too hard. Maybe that's the brain. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise halfway up. And then choose your way again. How do you feel comfortable getting into that plank pose? You can always lower the knees here too, or skip all of these vinyasas where you lower through chaturanga, back bend, downward dog. Heels rock forward. This time I'm only gonna come to that chaturanga, transitioning to upward dog. You do what's necessary for you. Exhale, downward facing dog. And on that transition from upward dog to downward dog, root your fingertips a little bit more so it takes the work out of the wrists a little bit and puts it a little more at the front of the hand. Deep breath in and sigh out. Walk your right foot a little more to the midline. Root your palms, stay grounded. Left leg reaches out and back, just hip height here. Right heel might get a little closer down without force to get a little more sensation on the right side of the outside of the leg. And then from here, rounding in on your exhale. Inhale brings you into length. Exhale, round in, even lift that ankle up towards the sitting bone. And back to downward dog. Round it in. Go for extension, and let's cross the midline behind us with the leg. Land the toes to the outside of the right foot. Elongate the right waistline and press the heart back. Breathing here. Lifting now the left leg up, using our same strength transition to round in through center. Seal the left foot down, maybe placing our blocks for some height. Draw the left hip crease long, right femur head plugs into the pelvis. When we're awake and aware of the legs, we can rise up, maybe reaching forward or to the sides to lift the torso. Breathing here. And then what choice is right for the arms? If you interlaced the first time, maybe interlace the opposite finger on top this time. From the floor, root, then take that energy up. Roll the shoulders back and extend from there. Do you have to look up? No. You can keep that gaze right in front of you. Only look up if that's sort of the last thing that you're doing and you've already found the complete back bend before that. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, straightening that front leg any amount. Folding down, hands to blocks or floor. Back heel is either lifted or hops in and over to the right a little bit. Draw the left hip crease back. Inhale. Exhale, fold any amount for your pyramid pose. Again, the goal isn't to just put our nose on our knee. Find some length. Sometimes you can feel even more stretch if you come way away from that leg. Now strengthening transition. Reach forward all the way up. Bring your hands to the heart, tilt the chest forward, bend the front knee. You might have to hop that back foot in a little closer, bend a little more in that front knee, and then create your chair pose here. Arms where you want them. You might change something here, externally rotate. Maybe like you're holding a platter of something delicious out to a friend. Breathe here. A friend who's 6 feet away from you now that we're in quarantine, or 10, what is it now? And then from here, reach up. If you can, press the palms back behind you. That's going to engage a particular part of the lats. Feels a little awkward. If it feels awkward, you're doing it right. Breathe here. And then exhale, lower the arms and shake it out a little bit. Go ahead and turn towards the long edge of your mat. And lift one knee up and in towards you. Externally rotate. Good. Bring it back in and set it down. All right, that worked. Let's try the other side. Soften. Other knee up. Externally rotate. Draw in and back down. Good. All right, now from here, soften the knees. Bring that first knee up. Let me get in the shot. Externally rotate. Bend your front leg. You can use your arms for balance. Bend the front knee. Reach that leg now behind you. Land the toes. Press the heel away from you. Bend your front knee. Good. Breathe here, or if you want, you can take one arm up and over. So from here, my right leg is back, so my right leg is gonna come over. Left arm and left leg forward. Breathe here. Really deep stretch into that side belly. Breathing. Let's take the trunk up, bring the arms long, press the back heel closer to us so we're landing more in that front foot, and see if you can go back for external rotation. Internal rotation, hands to the heart, and press everything down. Shake that out. Nice. Arms do what they want to. Bend the knees a little bit. As you straighten, lift the opposite knee. Externally rotate. Bend your standing leg. Use those arms as needed. Reach behind you. Land the toes. Then press into the heel. Open the Achilles tendon and the calf muscle. Breathe here. Front knee is bent. Stay with this, or taking back legs, arm side goes up and over, front leg's arm goes across. Breathing here. You can lift your heart a little bit, see how that feeds the stretch, as long as you're still breathing. Then reach the arms out to the sides, press the heel in, bring the hands maybe to the heart if you feel like you don't need them out anymore. Reach to the side with the knee, back forward and down. Shake it all out. Bring the hands to the heart, step or hop the feet wide. If you've got back issues, joint issues, don't hop, okay? Now from here, turn your right toes out and your left toes in a little bit. And then we're going to use that crossed arm position from before. So pretend you're just going into your regular old triangle pose, and instead of reaching down to the leg with your arm, you're going to reach across to your back foot, and top arm is going to reach over. So there's more of a static hold and more core involvement here. You're also not going to take your torso as low as you normally would in a classic triangle pose. Breathe. Inhale, reach up. 2 more times. Exhale, reach. And come on to where you started standing. Last one, reach over, working that side body, obliques, internal and external obliques a lot. And come back up. Reach up. Bring your hands to your heart. Both sets of toes are now pointed forward. Optional lift of the heels, pressing the hands gently against each other. Working the back of the legs, balance. Lower the heels, turn them in roughly 45 degrees. It's a very rough estimate of what your rotation will be. And then bend your knees. You can look to the left and right and see, okay, are my knees kind of roughly over my ankles, not so much rolling in. You might have to change your footing to feel comfortable in the pelvis and the low back. Breathing here, bring your hands to your heart. Lift one heel and then place it back down. Lift the other heel, place it back down. So getting into the groin. Maybe reach the arms and continue with that lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Reach the hips a little further down and then float the arms down as the legs go long. Soften the shoulders and sit up for triangle, modified triangle on the other side. So remember, we're going to cross under with the lower hand, over with the upper arm. So like we're going to triangle, and then we're going to really reach actively in the arms, awake in the trunk and the legs. We held this one a little longer at the beginning, and then we'll go back up to the top position, and we'll dive in 2 more times. Exhale, reach, and inhale to stand. And last one, exhale. And inhale all the way up. Toes turn forward, arms reach up, hands to the heart. Inhale, both arms up this time. Exhale, any amount of a fold. So you might be putting your hands on the floor or blocks here. You might be walking further in for Prasarita Padasvanasana. Hand options, ankles. You could take big toe, yogi toe lock here, bend the elbows out to the sides and slightly back, move the scapula onto the back, breathe here, whatever feels right to you today. Opening the back of the legs and lengthening the spine. And then one more breath in and out. And then we'll transition to what is the new front of your mat. So rotating to the opposite end of your mat, planting your hands, stepping back into plank pose, and here's where you make those choices. Are you taking a vinyasa or not? Maybe coming into your chaturanga, your back bend option, how you're returning back into downward dog is up to you, breathing here. Looking to the top of your mat, stepping or hopping there. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, rise halfway up. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. However it feels best for your back, your hamstrings, your breath to rise up, do that. And bring your hands back to the heart. Shake it out there. Good. Now from here, we're going to work that same balance. We've been doing those alternate lifts from one side to the other. We're going to continue here. Shift over into your left foot. Let the right knee rise up. You can stay here or you can interlace your hands underneath. You can use a strap if you want to extend that front leg, or yogi toe lock, reaching around the big toe. Elongate that left waistline down. Draw your right ribs back a little bit and left ribs a little more forward. And then option to take this out to the side any amount. You could be here, same posture, it's the same posture. And then with the leg straight or bent, draw the leg back forward. Maybe release the hold, hands to the waist or the heart. Then bend that leg. We're going to move into a warrior three, hands down or not. So from here, reaching the chest forward, reaching the back leg back, rotate the front of the right hip down, and maybe you'll have blocks here or floor, back, side, or forward arm position. Even hands to the heart. So this is up to you. So it would look like, and I'll show you here, I could use a block or two here if I wanted to put my hands down. And it's not Ardha Chandrasana, so I'm not rolling out, it's more here. Breathing. And as you're ready, we're gonna come back into a high lunge. Bend your standing leg more. Land that back leg, reach the arms up. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat. Use the transitions to get stronger, so take your time there. Step back into your vinyasa option. Back bend of choice. Downward facing dog. Looking to the top of the mat and stepping or hopping. Inhale, exhale for the fold. Choose how you want to rise. Inhale to stand. And exhale, hands to the heart. Soften the knees here. Adjust your clothing. And then other knee lifts. You can stay here or support. You can stay here or use a strap or fingertips. Drawing the left hip crease down a little bit. Left ribs back, right ribs a little more forward. And then with a straight leg or a bent knee, taking your balanced posture into external hip rotation. And then knee straight or bent, back forward. And then release and hold. Even if you're holding down here, you're still working the quads. Then bend that front knee. And here we go into torso forward to counterbalance that back leg reaching back. Choose your arm position for your warrior three. Maybe you're using a block. Breathing here. You're stronger than you think you are. Maybe your hands are down for balance, and that's just fine. And then we'll begin to bend our front knee, land that back set of toes down, widen your stance enough that you feel balanced, reaching up. High lunge, hey. Inhale, exhale, transitioning to the earth. Step back, this time not a vinyasa, something different. From here, walk your hands closer to each other if you can. So that's going to change the work a little bit and the balance. Walk the ball joints of your feet to touching. So this is kind of taking this from 4 points of connection where we're kind of able to stabilize a little bit easier to more like 2 points. We're making a smaller connection in the front and in the back. And then rock this forward and back a little bit just from the ankle joint movement. So you're not bobbing the hips up and down, you're keeping that stable and rocking back and forth. This can be done on the floor in all fours too, so on the knees. And then from here, separate the hands, separate the feet. Separate the feet nice and wide, about 1.5 feet. Put the left hand underneath you. Roll your ankles over to the left, heels down. You're engaging at the ankles, making L shapes there. Reach the opposite arm up or over, maybe even hand to waist. Breathing here, inhale, exhale, reach the arm towards the feet, hover the outer hip behind you, underneath you. Inhale, reach, really working the trunk, the obliques again, and lower, shoulder, and up, and exhale, and reach up. Slow transition as the heels lift, hand comes down, and we're gonna go directly to the other side. So you stay where you are. I'm gonna show you from this angle, right? Hand comes down, I'm gonna stagger the feet, engage the ankles, lift the top arm. Find yourself feeling steady here, wherever that top arm is. And then little lower, little lift. Oh yeah, and then that reach. Reach away, and up, and reach away, and up. Slowly take the heels up and the hand down, vinyasa or not. So if you're feeling tired, like I am, I'm gonna take a little rest. Talking everybody's ears off here. I'm gonna take a little rest so I can stop breathing so heavy. So if you're taking your vinyasa, remember the breath is the layer of support beneath all the work. Finding that. And then we'll all meet in a child's pose. So whatever that looks like to you, I'm not gonna lay so close to the ground as I normally would because of my microphone getting a little bit muffled. And just finding the breath. Feeling that breath moving in the lungs and recognizing that it's not just in the front, but all that surface area of lung in the back, base of the lungs, sides of the lungs, so like containers of breath. And then let's join in a seated posture here. If you want to use a blanket of support underneath your hips, feel free to do that. Good. Sit up nice and tall. And then as you're ready, extend the legs out to the sides. Good. So don't go right now to that fullness of how far your legs can go to the sides. Go before that. So maybe 80%, 85% of the way. Then allow a lean to happen until you feel there's an increase of the stretch, but it's not too much and you can still breathe. Inhale is going to elongate you. Exhale will surrender you any amount. Inhale for length. Exhale for softness. Inhale for length. Exhale for surrender. So you're going to continue as needed with that. I'm going to stay right here, just breathing with you as you find that just right Goldilocks position where the porridge was just right. Now that we're in quarantine at this point in 2020, we might I've been eating porridge. I've been breaking into the oatmeal. All right, so from here, if you're any amount down, use an in-breath, use your hands, walk it all the way back up. Reach the arms out and all the way up. Exhale, bring them to Anjali Mudra at your heart. And then from here, you have the option of just twisting a little bit to one leg and finding a stretch there, or doing a similar lateral that was kind of a theme earlier of crossing, right? Remember that cross? And then reaching over to one leg. You might find that foot, you might not find that foot. There might be a strap involved where you strap it up and grab the ends. Breathing here. So you can rotate the chest up as long as that feels good. If it doesn't feel good, soften it out a little bit and maybe don't look up. And careful to come all the way up. And other side, maybe you're doing that twist and reaching one leg, depending on what you need more of. That'll be a little more hamstring based, and a little more side, back. And then from here, reaching up will be a little more side. Maybe you find the foot, maybe the foot's not there. Don't worry about it. Breathing. So this is my tighter side. I never want to call it my worst side. I'll call it lovingly my tighter side. I love you, tighter side. So if you have a tighter side, you might want to stay a little longer on that side, so that in time you get a little more balance left to right. And very carefully coming all the way back up, soften the neck, maybe roll that around a little bit. And you can use your hands to bring your legs back forward and shake that out. Turning longwise on your mat. From here, you can use a block or not. Place that between the knees and then roll one vertebra at a time all the way down to the floor. So you're stronger than you think you are. And sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. If we really bring focus, we can work a little harder as long as we're safe. And come all the way down. Then you can remove that block and hug the knees in and rock side to side here. And then opening the knees, shifting the hips around a little bit. If you like happy baby pose and a little rock there, add that. Soles of the feet down to the floor. Pick up your heart center and scoot your shoulder blades underneath you. Knees might be, or feet might be walking a little more forward, so they're roughly under the knees, maybe a little bit in front, and then let the pelvis lift. Breathing here in your bridge. If you want to interlace the fingers behind you, interlace those fingers. Wake up the inner thighs. Breathing here. For those of you who want to go into a full wheel, I didn't really do a ton of prep for full wheel, so you might want to pause this, do a little more prep, and then go into it. And then separate the hands if they were interlaced and roll all the way down. And then choose your favorite twist, maybe just rolling the knees to one side and opening into a T or extending the lower leg. You might put a blanket or block underneath that bent knee and breathing here. Drawing back through center line, and whichever twist you took to one side, take it to the other side. So I've got my battery pack there in the way. Remove your battery pack before you take this twist. Just feeling your breath move in and out. That's enough. And come all the way back in. Hug the knees back in. Maybe a little lift here, curling into a ball. And then unfurling down onto your mat for Shavasana. If you would rather have your knees bent or roll a blanket underneath the knees or a bolster, add that. And just soften down. Maybe one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. So the work is so important and the effort is so important, but the rest and the letting go is also so key. So the people who I know in my life who are the most calm and happy, they make time for both. They make time for the work and for the rest. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Continue to rest here in your Shavasana. And thank you so much for joining me. If this served you, please like and subscribe. And it means a lot to me if you share this with your community, with anyone who might benefit. Namaste.